next week we'll just learn after davening.
It does seem, yeah, it does seem like that's the way. Okay. Okay, so today you started like around 7:15 or something, or 7:13. It's going to get earlier. Okay, and I'm gonna have to stop. I won't be able to keep going to this minyan because it's going to
want. What time they daven? They're not 8. What time they daven?
They left at 6:10 on Mondays, Thursdays, 6:20 on the rest of the days. So right at the moment it works out.
Right.
Yeah, this is a different place. It's not an extension of Miami Beach. It's got its own Weltanschauung. Everything is different here. Yeah, it's interesting. It's very like I said, it's very laid back, and the people that live here that are not Jewish are friendly. Everybody waves, stuff like that. Okay, let's go to the top of page Taf Kuf Pei Hey, and let's get over here. V'nati Khan Lashon Yahul Or. That's where we were. We didn't do this one. So the Yahul Or, I don't think. But who Inyan the Das, and he says that's what we're talking about over here. What are our phrases? What's our phrase? Our phrase is Shisa Nafke Ma'anfad the Sharsha the Gufa. Oh, here it is. So he says that it's Daki Ava Pacific the Sinuta Shisa Nafke Ma'anfad the Sharsha the Gufa V'Inyan Ki Hadas Hu Shorish HaZayin Tachta Atachtonas. The Das is the root of the Zat. The Moshe Keser, Shorish El Hatesha Spheres, that within, I don't know, Keser is the root of everything that develops out of it, all the rest of the 9 spheros. Gain the Das, Shorish, the Zayin Tachtonis, and Mispashat, Be'ez Spheros, Chagat Noah. Hegavuros, and Hegavuros, I guess, Hegavuros, Echasadim Ki Yedua. Miskabes B'Yisod, all of them, as we know, go into the Yisod. And he said, Yisod ain't a shorish, Ahud is not a shorish. Benikra Mosif, but instead, I guess he means it's called an additional something. Mosif, add on, but the Taisif B'Koyach of the Hadas, but the addition, or what is added in as a result, is from the Koyach that originally came from Das. But Das who Yisod the parts of Shalom Alakano. We know that Das is what? It's the Yisod of what came from up above it. Right? Like it's the Yisod of Ima is inside of Das. But men and the Asa parts of the Lamata, and so therefore the Das and then everything that flows out of it is making that parts of down below. Yisod Nikra Shabbos. So you say therefore that the Yisod is called Shabbos. Now, Yisod is Shabbos. Now, why is Yisod Shabbos? Yehus Sfira Zayin. So it's the 7th Sfira. Now, how did it get to be 7th Sfira? So if you go from Bina, it comes out 7. Let's just see. He say who Sfira Zayin, which is Shabbos, let's say. Bein Belamala, Bein Belamata. Well, you count it from, I guess, Bina down, or you count it from Yisod up. I don't know. Bein Melamata Lamala. So example, who Yisod the Bina, and it's the Yisod of Bina. Yisod the Chochma also is always inside of Bina. V'shnei Yisod is Elohim Hanikra. Now, just for my own sake, I just like to read that again because it's a little bit fancy. I go to L'chein, Zechem B'tamid Yisod Nikra Shabbos. Ki hu Sfira Zayin Bein Melamala Bein Melamata. Then we can say Bein Melamala Lamata, Bein Melamata Lamala. I'm sorry, so I misread that a little bit. So, but I don't see how that works. I mean, from the one way or another, it's number 7. I don't know whether if it can come from Lamala Lamata, I could see number 7. But the 7, because the question of what's 7 anyway. So it's number 7. He says this Yisod number 7. So he said, well, who's Sod the Bina of Yisod the Bina? Actually, it's the Yisod of Bina is inside of that Das. Yisod the Chochma also, but inside of that is the whole sort of Chochma. Shnei Yisod is Elohim and Nikra Das. So the two of them together, that's what I wanted to see, is called Das. When they combine, it says a language like that. He says, V'shnei Yisod is Elohim Nikra Das. The two of them together are called Das. Kamosha Ne'emer Bedato, the Homos Nivku'u. I guess in his mind or in his thinking, that the boundaries were broken open. I'm not sure what that means. Moshe Amba be'idrazuta, v'hu ilun shebo shorish, v'gufa ilun. So you have a tree, you have the roots, you have the trunk of the tree, v'anaf v'yotzev, and then the branch that comes out from it. Kain hu kan das. This is the same way that das works. What das is what? Who has shorish v'guf hu ha-teferes. So that das is the root, the teferes is the guf. Shenechlalim bo hadroim v'yarkin, that has within it, I guess, branches. What's it say? Moshe Amba b'sfar mecherim. And he says also, maybe he means to say that this word sfar mecherim is really besisre osios. So there's something called the Sisre Osios, which is in the Zohar Chodesh. It's a side reference. I haven't seen it. So he said, "Hu iluna." So this is a tree. Opeshita de bris hu anfa. Now I've been looked at this, and I'm trying to think of what does peshito mean. So I'm translating it as an extension. So the extension of the bris is an anfa. Now let's go back again. He says what? He says, we went through the tree, the root and the trunk and the branches. So in Besisre, so Osios, hu iluna, the Peshita, the bris, hu anfa, and the extension of the bris is then the anaf, is the branch, who besod vav, and it's the sod of the letter vav. Resha the vav, hu hadas, on top of the vav, that's where you find the das and the kuda achas. So now he's making me think that the 7, I wasn't counting it right, 7 from the bottom to the top, 7 from the bottom to the top, top to the bottom, and the 7 is das. Das and chagat nehim. Or gas and chagat nai, I guess. I'm not sure. Upeshito, the bris, hu anfa, is the branch, besod vav. Resha, the vav, hu adas, the kuda achas, is a dot on top of the vav. Guf of the vav, so the body of the vav, behei nekudim. Now this is hard for me to hear. He says the kuda achas, so that's one dot. Then the guf of then the body itself. So it's like there's a dot on top of a line. So he says a guf of the vav, behei nekudim, kuda isa bezoer shahu teferes. So he says that the gufa of the vav is actually 5, not 6, but 5, with a dot on the top of it. And this comes out in the Zohar, where it says this is the nature of Teferes, which is a Chagat Na. HaKoilo He Sfiros, which has 4 of Pshita the bris, and then there's a Pshita the bris, which is a Petsuras Vav. Now that's a little bit complicated to hear this. And I'll read it one more time, just for in Spanish it's por gusto, just because that's what to do. So he said the goof of the bus. He says, here we go. Let's see, Resha the vav, hu hadas nekuda achas. He says the goof of the vav, the body of the vav itself, but behei nekudim is in 5. Actually comes out to be 5 nekudim. So there's 1 on the top. And then there's 5 nekudim. And those are Chagad Noah. Kuda Isa Bezohar, he says, Shehu Teferes HaKolu Hesviros. Then there's another thing, and then there's a Peshita, the bris, Betsuras Vav. Now this is where I get a little confused, because I don't know which came first, the Peshita, the bris, or the dot on the top. I don't know which one, but it's the 5, and then he says the Peshita, the bris, is that makes the letter Vav. And then the Sisre Osios, he says, it's not a Vav, it's a Gimmel. Haniskar Bezoar Sham, which is mentioned over there, he says, in the Zohar. Now, there is a blurb on this, and we will pick it up. So he says, who anfa the bris, that's the branch, which is called the bris, and it's pasha bekoich hadas, which is, how is it spread? It spreads from imagine the line up on the top. The top of that line has a dot. That dot is the energy source that's going to grow everything down below it. And then he says that as a result of that, that's his word, hu anfa the bris, a mispashet, which spreads downwards, mekoich hadas is the energy source for that spread. V'zecher she'amar anfa the sharsha the gufa, this is the branch of the root of the body. So this is the anfa, this is das. L'olam yisod, the parts of shalamala. So this is a rule that he says, this is a rule, that the parts of that's up above, the yisod, that parts of hu adash shalamata, it manifests in das down below. Now, that's an interesting idea for me because I'm originally normally thinking that there's a das sitting there and this yisod comes into it. That's not what he said. He said, Amar Anfa the Sharsha the Gufa of Oilam Yisod is really the parts that from up above it. It's not that it's creating it, it is it. Hu shalamalo, hu das shalamata. It manifests as das down below, which is in a thicker place, a more physical place. He said, but parts of shalamala yisod canal. Oh, well, this is a little bit of a wait here. I got the right time. Yeah, we still got time. So we're right here. Olam Yisod, the parts of Shalamala, Uda Shalamata. Shuhu, the parts of Shalamala, Yisod, Okay. So that was a big chiddush. I got a moment here to digest it. I'm going to read from La'olam again. He said, La'olam Yisod, the parts of Shalamala, Huda Shalamata. When you see it, when it extends down below, it becomes Das. So it's like, they used to say in Dragnet, the names have been changed to protect the innocent. It's the same thing, but it's manifest in lower places. Now you could say the same thing is that Yisod is really a manifestation of Das, just in a lower place. So anyway, because Das is also a pool, same idea, but I don't know. Yisod, the parts of Shalamala, Huda, Shalamata, Shahu, the parts of Shalamala, Yisod canal, the Chochma, Ubina, Shabo, Delo, Misparshim. Okay, so I'm moving on in my brain, and we got a number Yud Gimmel and a number Yud Dalet that actually came out of this. I think both of them. One of them is a quote from the Zohar. I don't know if there's anything in number Yud Gimmel particularly. My wife is starting wearing an extra pair of glasses. I might have to do that too. So his Rei Zohar, Vizel Deshonda B'diuk named the Asbun. It's looking at just the structure of the letter itself. It's what it looks like. Chad Nekuda the Ela that has a dot on the top of it. So it's like tilting to the left, that dot, but there's a dot on the top of it. V'chamesh Nekudim de Latata. That was our phrase, and then there are 5 Nekudim down below it. V'chein Shi'ur de Lo Kagav the Daw. So therefore, if you put them all together, it looks like this, and it makes above Ad Kan Ein Sham. Okay, that's a little bit there. Let's look a little bit more. Number Yud Dalet. The number Yud Dalet says, Arei Bezoar Sham Bezel Shono. Because Ayel Shim Shera Besifra. This is entering the sun into the moon. This is Loshen Zivul. Navek Mahai. From this comes out Vav Chad Pepeshito Raza de Bris. They say that this comes out from this yichud of the sun and the moon. That's it. That's a good metaphor right there. And it goes out this vav, and so he says, and then it has an extension which is the bris. That's why I'm translating it. And then he says, what's it look like? It looks like a gimmel. And then this gimmel, this is the whatever it is. This is the letter that enters into the nukva. V'had is kalo kula b'hai b'shita the ozvav, and then if you incorporated them, kula b'hai b'shita with this extension, which we're calling the ozvav, of the ozvav, then kind of the shimsha benukvos, when that comes together, I can read it again, is that's when you're whether you're setting up or you're structuring the sun in the moon. Shimsha benukva, the sun in the female aspect, the sun being Zeranpin. Just read it again. After we got this shock that the vav really looks like a gimmel, so you use the gimmel to enter into the nukva. V'kad is kala kula b'hai b'shita the azvav, and then v'kad is kala, when they come together, kula b'hai b'shita the azvav with this, I don't know how this line works with this letter vav, which is the extended letter vav. And then kind of the shimsha benukva, that's when you have the shimsha inside of the female adgan. Before kan the base so it says over here that there's actually, so you saw that one says it's a gimel and the other one says it's a vav, and they seem to be mixing them together. So the bris b'tzuras vav, so you have, that's one. So he says those Sifar Mecherim are the Sifra Osios, which I don't know which one it is. It's a gimel adkan. So which one is it? So in one way it's a vav, and another way it's a gimel. So he said, they're both right. He said, ki habriz hu b'shita the os vav. So the bris is what? B'shit is the extension of the letter vav. V'gam hu kagabda the b'shita hu the os gimel. So it's really like the same thing. Whoa. Yeah, the eighth thing. So he said, "V'gam hu kagamda the b'shuta the os gimel." It's the same thing, like the extension on a letter gimel. Now, the way that I'm understanding this, he's going to explain it. So then let's see if I can understand again. Ki os gimel hu tzuras vav. So it's really a vav. So let's say the vav represents now das and 5 kitzvos, which you said before, which is 6. In peshito, but it has a peshito, an extension. That's it. So they'll tell you that that 6 is the 6 plus 1 that we've been talking about. But the gimel one is when im peshito, it's the vav, im peshito lamata, and it has an extension down on below it, but sad small on the left side. What's that? Besod peshito the bris, which is the concept of the extension of the bris. The bris wants to make contact with the nukva. Maybe that's the reason why it's on the left, and in the gimel. And so the gimel really explains the whole thing. It says that there's a das on top and 5 nukudos. That's the vav. And then it has a gimel. There's a little extension towards the left because the nukva is on the left. So therefore, that could be an explanation for that. Okay, so that was interesting to me. Inner space, that's what it is. Okay, so there's a Lisha Mamalo Ravravin. Are we out of time? Nope, we got just another little. I need something to drink. Something to drink here. Yes. Okay. That was stimulating. Now we're going to go into the next phrase in our Sifra de Niyutza. That's Niyuta, which says Lisha Mamalod Ravravim. Okay, so he had said that Babir Inyan Lisha Mamalod Ravravim, Rei Babir Meshulav Shin is Boyer al Pi Divrich Rizal, become the Makomos. So this phrase, which is the Bira Meshulav, does that mean the one that we already had? That's, or is this a special book? You know? Yeah. Okay. Babir inyan lisha mamal ravavim rei babir hamashulav ashiniz boyer al pi divrich arizal. says this in many places. Rebbe Eitz Chaim, it gives a slight reference from Shehu Sod Zivuk Heich V'Garu. That's what we've been saying before. Shel Erik Anpin. Lacham Shektipas Shisha Kitzvos Dezer Anpin Ein Sham Ba'orech. So that's what we saw over there. So he said, Ray Od Biurim Bizet. Now there's other ways to look at this. Here's the first one, number Aleph. The volume says, Ray Bir Yakar Sham Shabir the Fidarko Hanal. The Lashon Hu Hadas, that the tongue represents Das, An Nimshach Meyichud Abba Ve'ima, which is an extension of Abba Ve'ima. Meyichud that comes out, flows out from the Yichud of Abba Ve'ima. So it's like normally we say that the Yichud of Abba Ve'ima produces Zun. Zer Anpin and Nukva. Here he says the Lashon Hu Adas Animshach Meyichud, it's an extension or extends out or flows out from the Yichud that takes place with Abba Ve'ima. So in this he's explaining like this, the Lashon B'mal Ravavim, that language that the tongue speaks big things. Lashon Shu Hadas, so we're saying the Lashon is Das. Mamalo, it's Mamshech, so it speaks, and B'shik means it causes the flow, Lamata, as Oros, Sfiras, HaChochma, the lights of Chochma, Anikroim Ravavim. So it's the agent of the flow of what comes from Chochma. Hiyoski anim shachim b'chachma hanikra rav. That's everything that causes, that flows out from chachma is called great, big. So this is what it says. So where did they put the tongue? Where did God put the tongue? God put it in the mouth. Behind the betochio, so you must say, but inside, between chachma and bina, put it inside of the mouth, between chachma and bina. The lashon hu bein shaneim, so the tongue is really between the two of them. So he said, the lashon hu bein shaneim, so it's in between. V'oches ad chachma v'bina mitziyusim b'reisha, so v'oches ad chachma, so I guess it holds on or it attaches itself until it reaches Chachma, Barabina, Mitziyus and Beresha. So it's in between Chachma and Bina, and you find them in the head. Behind the Shechabadas Moshe, Beina Chachma, Bina, Sadah pulls, that's what I understand, pulls or causes the pull between both of them, Bein Chachma and Bina. So it pulls down between the two of them. And it's the one that's speaking these big ideas, this bigness. Shehis pashtus asfiras min hachma min the crime rav labina heim al yada. So let me see this again. The spheres, it says shehis pashtus asfiras min hachma hanikros rav, which is called rav. Then it goes the bina. So all of that, his pashta, he's saying something like this, I think. He's saying that his pashtas that actually brings the tipa, so we talk about tipa here, he says, from Abba into Ima is das. Behind the Mamala Ravavim, it's this talker of the Ravavim, Heim Asfiras Vahachius, no, Asfiras Vahavayos, Hamispashtos mechachma, that's the spheres of the Chabad that come out of chachma. The bina to the ubein shtechem lamata, and between the two of them, he's able to bring it down. Now, I did translate some of this that it meant that it's involved in the transfer into ima. V'oches ad chachma v'chabina mitziyusim. I don't know. I'm going on. See what else we can learn. We have more time. Any more time?
That'll be it.
Okay, that's it. Okay, thank you, Rebbe. Thank you.